Hey guys, I just wanted to make a video talking about some of the ways that Jesus encourages me when I'm going through a hard time, like when I'm missing my mom or just other things in my life. I just wanted to teach the world what some of the beautiful things of God's heart that I don't know if any of you know this part of his heart, and if you do, please share in the comments, whatever you'd like to share, what God has shown you, or just some of the deep, intimate ways that he's, ministered and comforted you. But my mom died in April of 2020, and before she died, I was really seeking God to understand how I could show her love and to let her know that she mattered, that she's a part of me, and I wanted her to know how much I loved her, and I wanted God to share with me how I could express that to her. And so Jesus gave me this idea, and I mentioned this kind of in another video recently about how I got together a notebook, and I was writing down memories, and God started to flood my mind and heart of different memories of the good, beautiful things that my mom did in this life, and just ways that she touched my heart, and I expressed ways that I acknowledged how she had loved and touched other people's hearts, with her light here. And most of you may or may not know that my mother and I had an estranged relationship, but her terminal illness actually brought us together, and we were able to heal one another and to spend about 4 months really healing each other's hearts and just downpouring love and really taking in each moment that we had together. And that was such a blessing, and I know that not everybody gets that blessing, but yeah, I guess with that being said, I just want to encourage you, if you have parents who are still living, maybe you could do something like this for them. I don't know your situation or your relationship or anything about you and your parent, but you could always mail them a book of you just pouring out your heart to them. Anyways, Jesus helped me write a poem for my mom, and I don't have it here in front of me, but basically it was just a short, sweet poem that actually came from God's heart, and it was about when my mother was a child and how she would sit underneath a big tree, and just how she would talk to God in her heart, and God would talk to her and send birds to her to sing for her as she was sitting there, because my mom had a really hard childhood. I won't get into all that, but yeah, God showed me different ways that he would communicate to my mom to try and comfort her as a child during these hard times in her childhood. So it was that kind of poem to where it was just it brought me in spirit, God brought me in spirit back to that time where my mom was hurting as a child, and it really helped my heart to enlarge on how I could reach her and really help her feel loved, so then I wrote down different memories of things, like I said, that were precious between us, things that I noticed as a child, that I may or may not have told her over the years. I wanted her to know that I noticed things and ways that she did things in life that touched me and that taught me, good. And so that was my point, was just to pour all kinds of love into her heart. And thankfully she was able to read the book before she passed. But since she's died, there's been different ways that God's comforted me over her death, just over her absence of being here, because we were getting really close, and the closest we had ever been, because my mom is really, really seeking Jesus, and really becoming so sensitive to his heart and to what mattered here in life. And she was using her time wisely. So it was really, really easy for us to get into the spirit when we were together. And so it was heartbreaking when, that bond that we had formed, over 4 months, we had to say goodbye. And I was also, thankful that I could share certain songs with her, and I'll put those in the description of this video, too, to where she cried, and she thanked me, just opening my heart about what songs reminded me of her and us, and things, I told her in this book, and to her face, I expressed to her, things that I would have done differently if I could go back as a child, and just really, I examined myself in all stages of my life to really humble myself and learn. Jesus really taught me a lot on how he knows if I could go back, I would have done so many things different from a child till, when we first started, bonding. There would have been, we didn't really bond for 20 years, maybe a little longer than that actually, 25 years. It was difficult. But anyways, but there's so many things that I told her and expressed to her that I wish I could have done differently, or maybe could have helped her in ways that I didn't, especially as a child, because children, they're kind of in their own world in times, and I know that children are disobedient in moments, but I wish I would have, helped her more. I had my chores, and I had to, obey her and do things like that, but I wish that I would have, done more, to just really take in the moment, and to really, try and understand who she was as a person then in all stages of my life, because I have full understanding of it now, because God's given me that understanding, and that in itself is a beautiful gift. But just some of the ways that, I wanted to express to you guys, some of the ways that God comforts my heart now that my mom is gone. We're still building a bond, just because her body is dead, she's still living with God, and her soul is with Jesus. And when I'm having a really hard day, if I'm crying, and the only one that could heal my heart is my mom, or God in that moment. And if I can't be comforted by anybody else, God knows to swoop down and how to reach my heart to comfort me in that time. And different things that we do, Jesus and I in those moments, is we'll play a playlist of songs that are between my mother and I, and I'll cry. I'll have a good cry. I talk to my mom sometimes. I also have things of hers that I randomly, will go and smell. I got a scarf from her when I would take her to her chemotherapy sessions, and it still smells like her, and I have it in this bag. And I also have her hand cream that my mom would put on before I would come and visit her, and she just smelled so good, and she'd put it on her face, and in her head, her bald head, after she started getting chemo. And I remember I would kiss her head, her bald head, and I'd be like, gosh, Mom, and her cheeks, and be like, gosh, you smell good. What is that smell? And she told me that it was a cream that my sister had given her. And my sister was kind enough and loving enough to give me that specific little applicator of cream, and so I have that I'll go and I'll smell sometimes, because I don't know how to explain it, but just the smell of my mom brings healing in itself that words don't have to express, I can't, it's hard to explain. Then sometimes Jesus will give me dreams of my mom. She'll comfort me, she'll encourage me, and she'll just tell me really, really personal things to me in these dreams. She cheers for me to keep, staying strong, and she cheers for me in these dreams. and tells me how much she loves me and how proud she is of me, that, I'm clinging to God and I'm following Jesus, and then she'll remind me of different things and dreams of things that touched her heart when I was a child. And like throughout the day, Jesus will put a song on, or if I see like a movie or part of a TV show or something that reminds me of something to do with my mom or a childhood or something, he'll like download wisdom and knowledge into my heart to where it comforts me, and I can literally feel my mom's presence in moments, like I feel her love. Just knowing that my mom's no longer in pain is such a relief for me, and it makes me so happy for her to know that her heart is so enlarged and full of everything that the paradise of God, that she's at perfect peace, in love, 24/7, not having any lack of love, not having any needs, that she is fulfilled in her Maker, and that to me keeps me going every day. And because I miss her, I want her here with me at times, but which is normal. Like, I want her here with me all the time, and that's normal, because it's hard. It's hard to say goodbye, even when I know it's temporary. It's still hard, So God's so beautiful and precious to, enlighten me with these gifts and this wisdom and understanding to comfort my heart, in really hard moments when I miss my mom. So sometimes I'll just be sitting there, like crying and, just sharing to Jesus how I wish I could go back. I wish I could take in more moments with her and, in my childhood and things like that. And then he takes me into her childhood, and he expresses, like, he teaches me her heart more and more. So I really am still bonding with my mom, even though her spirit's with God. Her spirit is also with me because God is in me. So my mom's always there, like, being my dialogue cheerleader, like, constantly. And yeah, that's beautiful. I love knowing that she's with me and that she's watching me and she's encouraging me and cheering me on to walk this life, the narrow path with God. So anyways, sometimes when I'm having a really hard moment, I'll ask God, like, what is she doing? What is my mom's spirit doing right now? Because she could be doing whatever she wants. And to my understanding, God's expressed to me that my mom is the age that she wants to be. Like, my mom, this is my understanding in spirit, that she got to pick whatever age she wanted to be forever. And hey, who can limit God, If somebody wants to be a certain age, one moment in eternity in paradise with their Maker, and they want something else the next, I mean, I don't see God withholding those gifts. But in saying that, like, the spirit is so youthful anyways. It's eternal. It lives forever with God. But my point is that my mother, like Jesus was expressing to me, that my mother is more beautiful now in spirit with Jesus in paradise than she ever was in all the youthful prime time of her life that she was on earth. And she's the most beautiful that she has ever been. And so, and my mom is so beautiful, you guys. I'll put up some pictures.
Getting ready to go to baseball.
It's hard to imagine that she could be even more beautiful. But she has her hair now, and she has her big brown eyes and her big smile lighting up paradise every day. In my heart, every day, I think about her smile. So I'll ask Jesus, what is my mom doing right now? And he'll tell me things like she's dancing. My mom always wanted to learn how to dance, like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, like really dancing. So, but my mom would be dancing even more beautiful than Ginger Rogers. She would be having her own dance to the tune of God's heart. I think about how my mom could be swimming sometimes or flying if she wanted to, and just the different conversations that she would be having, with people who have passed. And like another thought that I have is like there's a couple other relatives that God has expressed to me that are with him. So I think about how my mom is sitting down with them and they're just talking about beautiful things and learning about each other and learning about God. Like that my mom and Jesus are talking about all kinds of things from her childhood, and she is so full of joy and laughter and life like never before. And God is giving her all the pleasures of her heart because her heart is holy and pure. And she literally became God's love when she died. She became one with God. And it's like I have understanding in spirit that my mom is so full of God's love that, she's lacking nothing. So anything that she loves and likes, God is joyfully giving it to her. Whether it's her favorite food, or snacks or drinks or whatever. So my mom really loved Victorian, interior decorations. So I see that God has this beautiful mansion for her, just full of the most beautiful Victorian lace and heels and dresses and whatever she wants, pearls or, all types of jewelry that she wants, and hats, and purses, and, that she has everything she wants. And it's because God's continually just giving her these beautiful gifts of her heart. And my mom loved to cook, so I even see that she would love to be cooking for Jesus right now and serving him things and trying new things and maybe even creating new foods and new recipes that have never existed. God has said in the Bible that there hasn't been the imagination of all the things that God has prepared for those who love him. So that tells me that even all these beautiful meditations that I'm sharing with you guys doesn't even come close to the beautiful reality of what God is just pouring into my mother, and all of the beautiful things that they're sharing together, the moments, and just the idea of the different beautiful things about paradise, so because I believe it's a gift. It's a gift. It's like a surprise. It's like God wants to give his children a beautiful surprise. And of course we can have these thoughts that God gives me, because he's the one who gives me these thoughts to encourage me, and they're truth. But there's also things he's not telling me. And because there's things that are made just between my mom and Jesus, and then me and Jesus when I die. So I just see that God keeps it a big secret, it's like a finale to where he gives his children beautiful things that he's made just for them. And he's just a beautiful God. So I like to think about this stuff. Some other things I really like to think about is how people will say sometimes that I have my mom's smile. My mom really took pride and telling me that me and my twin sister have her eyes. I remember her saying that a couple times before the last couple visits that I had with her. She's like, you and your sister have my eyes. Like, she took such pride in it. So I love knowing that when I look in the mirror, I'm like looking back at my mom. And my husband tells me that I have her laugh in moments. Like, he'll be like, that's it, that's the laugh. That's your mother's laugh. So I take pride in these things, you know, on how I'm like my mother in appearance and in heart. And God tells me sometimes that, like, when I tilt my head and smile, that it looks like her. She had that beautiful natural feature that she did when she walked into a room. She'd, like, tilt her head and smile, you know. She has a beautiful smile. So it's just thinking about her smile gets me through a lot of moments, and just knowing what she would say to me, like, because I hear her thoughts, like, God shares these things with me to really encourage me. And yeah, so we're ever continually bonding. Jesus is amazing, you guys, how he works. Like, anytime I'm sad about something, like just thinking about family, if I could go back and do things differently as a child or whatever. Like, for example, sometimes he'll give me, like, these visions, and, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like God's talking to me, and he holds my heart as he's talking to me, and it heals my heart, and it puts me back into a memory as though I was there, you know, like if I'm missing something, a moment that I wish I had that I could just get back, you know, like the other day, this is just an example, the other day, I was crying because I wanted to go see my dad, and I got sick, and I've been dealing with health issues on and off for a couple weeks now, and I hope to go see him soon. But, you know, I was just talking to God about personal things, and just talking about him and of the things that I miss about my dad, like my childhood, and God healed my heart. He came in my bedroom like his spirit, and he was surrounding me, and I felt him hugging my heart. And in that moment, he took me in spirit, I don't know how to explain it, but he took me in spirit to that exact memory that I was thinking about with my dad. And there I was, 7 years old again. God placed me on a sawhorse in my dad's little bitty shed shop where he would just build things, you know. And I was watching him work, and I literally smelled him, and I heard him. I don't know how to explain it, and I felt my dad. And it was like as though I was right back there in that moment. He was wearing a tool belt. I was asking him questions, and I got to feel that closeness and that bond that I felt when I was a child, and God did that for me, and it really healed my heart in that moment, because I missed him so much, you know. And so just little things like that, God does that all the time. He's constantly, like, taking me in spirit back to the moment where I felt something as a child, and it's as though I'm back there again in that moment with my loved one, you know, and I'm learning new things. And yeah, it's so beautiful and intimate, you guys. Yeah, so he's expressed to me that, you know, when I die, that there's going to be so many beautiful things that I'm going to be able to express, that I'm going to be able to experience again, like I did when I was a child, you know, with my loved ones, and we'll get to have memories together. We'll get to build new memories together, and get to really go back to moments of my life here on earth if I wanted to. I just see that anything's possible for Jesus. So anyways, I wanted to share this as an encouragement. Really take the time to bond with your families, and to really make peace where you can make peace, and really ask Jesus how you can get in spirit, and to really pour love into your loved ones. And then I also just wanted to share this to encourage you to draw near to Jesus, because he will share so many beautiful, like, revelations of your heart and your loved ones' hearts if if that's the desire of your heart. And with the point and purpose to use that wisdom to pour love and to grow, you know, into the love of God. So I just really wanted to share this. I'll be making more videos about these things of spirit